Welcome back. In this two-part series, we're going to be working inside of Substance Painter on this lantern, and I must admit, this is always my favorite part of the pipeline, where I have to come in here and work my models. And now this first pass here, I'm going to decide to add some rust to the lantern. You know, using a mixture of smart materials, procedurals, and masks to define the look of it. Now, it's supposed to be an antique, and when I started creating the texture for this, I got very carried away. But the good part about being carried away is it gives me the option later to decide how much rust I want on the model. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Substance Painter, this is a program that's been around for the last 8 years now, and it has been a very important part of our arsenal. It has many powers, and one of its powers being that, aside from its powerful procedural texturing features, just like Designer, I'm able to paint all the channels at one time and see the results see the results right before your eyes in real time. I'm on an old laptop, a GTX 670M, which is ancient. Don't ask. But if you have like high-end hardware, it'll definitely take advantage of it for you and it'll make a much smoother experience. You saw me adding some patina on the metal there. This is on one part of the lantern, and I'm also using the feature of geometry masking to make painting easier on the model. As for removing the metal and the rust, I did find out later on there's a better feature for this versus using a bunch of folders and individual color swatches that have to rinse and repeat. I'll tell you about that later on, though. And right now I'm just doing the same process over and over, just adding rust. As much rust as I want. And that's the beauty of this program. It allows you to experiment and just have fun while you're texturing here. You know, into thinking the olden days, before we had like access to engines, like access to tools like Unity and Unreal 5. Painting like this back then was a dream back then. I'm aging myself here, but I've been doing 3D modeling and graphics since my mid-teens. And back then, of course, you know, we didn't have this program. You know, we used Photoshop or Corel Painter, where you do one layer of color, then save it out, render it like in Maya or Lightwave. If you hated it, you gotta bring it back, do it again, and it was a painful process having to go back and forth between programs. And also too, back then we didn't have any access to real-time hardware like real-time tools like Unity or high-end graphics cards like today to even see all the stuff. So I'm glad I have this program. So here again is adding more rust. And you know, I mean, I'll make, and plus using smart materials, it is a very strong, very powerful feature. Using mass generators to really rough the surface up. And yes, I could have skipped all this and did the way I did originally, but I wanted to record it and just show you guys that as a 3D artist, especially in the game industry, you know, you have the options to do stuff like this and experiment. And right now we're about halfway through this video. However, the actual process of having his lantern textured took way longer than this. And I guess you could say I was having too much fun while I was working on this. Right now it's tweaking the rust amount on the shroud. Because I'm definitely going to be doing this more often too. And also, this is the reason why when we textured the model, we had it unwrapped in such a way that to allow even details. This is one of the reasons why I did it this way. And even with triplanar projection, having bad UVs won't fix the problem. And plus, it's good practice to have clean UVs if you're working in a studio. I am not working on I don't work in a studio or with a company or anything like that, but it helps to have this knowledge at hand. Yeah, so example here on the windshield, I am using a dirt brush to remove the rust and add the metal back in. But I did end up finding a better way of doing this using anchor points, which is way easier. And there are tutorials on anchor points. There's so many in fact that I can probably link them in the description to this video that talks about it. I mean, this is so powerful. I love this program very much. And personally, of course, I couldn't work without it. And also back then too, back in the day, things like rust, you have to like either use filters or take photographs of the rusted metal and sample that. Here, I don't have to hear this program, not at all. I just come in and paint it. So here we are in the igniter, adding all the rust detail and roughness maps and metal. I think I have a bunch of channels on here that can be seen. You can see in real time. It's amazing. Now we're gonna add some burn marks inside of the igniter. Because why not? You know, I'm sure someone lighting this lantern daily, you'll see some burn marks on there. You know, like burnt ash and soot. Yeah, I definitely went crazy here on adding rust and patina on the surface. This is definitely my favorite feature of this project. It's absolutely amazing what you can do here with this program. And here we are. We are at the end of the first chapter, involving the rust pass on the lantern. And I must say, although it was a little overkill, I had a marvelous time working on this texture. It also kind of introduced me to advanced material creation. As of right now, the lantern looks more or less like an antique and more like a lantern you found in the junkyard. And in the second part of this texturing series, we will correct for that. So right now I'm going to show you all the channels that make up the final textures on this lantern. And it's a very powerful feature too, because you can now not only can see all the textures you did, but all of these are going to Unity for rendering later. If you haven't yet, I definitely recommend looking at this program for all your projects. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel for future content like this one. So, until next time, take care of yourselves, God bless, and I will see you in the next chapter.